So yeah, and I don't know much about President Garfield, but it says James A. Garfield was one of the most extraordinary men ever elected president, born into almost unimaginable poverty in rural Ohio, which is kind of a shame because I'm an Ohioan. I know we learned a little bit about him like in Ohio history, but I believe Ohio history is like 3rd or 4th grade, and yeah, I'm over 45, so I barely remember that. Hi, my bookish friends. I'm Courtney, and welcome back to the Bibliostyle. It is almost November, and that means it's time for NonFiction November. If you are not new around the booktube sphere, then you have heard of it before. But if it's something that you haven't heard of, NonFiction November is hosted by, I think it was started by a book olive several years ago, just to encourage people to read more nonfiction. Olive is a huge nonfiction lover, and so I think this is kind of like her love letter to the genre. This year it's being hosted, let me look at my notes, so always hosted by a book olive, but she has several co-hosts this year, which are Sabrina at Stacacino, Natalie at Curious Reader, Jill at The Book Bully, and Andrea at Infinite Text. So I will leave like all of the social media links for the hosts and co-hosts. I believe NonFiction November has like its own Twitter and its own, I think there's like an Instagram challenge element for this year, and then they also have a TikTok for this year. So I will link those in the down box below, as well as the announcement video from Olive, and I think she already, or by the time you see this video, she should have up like her recommendations video. So I will also like link that down below as well. So they don't really do prompts in the traditional sense of the word. They give you words and you can interpret that in any way that you want. So the 4 word prompts for this year are time, movement, buzz, and discovery. So I have my picks for NonFiction November. So my first pick is I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness by Austin Channing Brown. And this really tells about her experience growing up Black in white America. I chose it for buzz because it was chosen as one of the selections for Reese's Book Club, so it has quite a buzz about it, and in fact I have waited almost since it was released for it to come in at the library for me, and it happened to arrive just in time for NonFiction November, so I'm pretty stoked about that. My next book for the word discovery is The Great Influenza, The Story of the Deadliest Pandemic in History by John M. Barry. Also another timely read, but I chose it obviously because they discover kind of what chaos a pandemic inflicts on society, and also because I think it would do us well to really go back and learn and kind of discover what the people went through back then and kind of apply it to what we're going through right now. It doesn't seem, at least in the United States where I am, that the pandemic is going to let us out of its grip anytime soon. So, and we're also entering into what is traditionally the flu season, so flu mixed with COVID, things are getting a little bit frightening around here. So that's my pick for that. My next pick is, let's see, I chose A Tale of Madness, Medicine, and the Murder of a President, and it is Destiny of the Republic by Candice Millard. So this really tells the story of James Garfield and the attempt that was made to assassinate him. He was shot. The bullet did not kill him, but he suffered a great deal from that injury, and so I believe this book talks a lot about kind of the excruciating and almost barbaric medical procedures he underwent to kind of deal with the fallout from the gunshot. It also talks a great deal about kind of where we were as a society then. I believe this is like post Reconstruction, and there is a lot of like chaos still around the things that happened during the Civil War. The country is very much still split and in the process of trying to build itself back up. And my last pick is for movement. This is the Nordic theory of everything in search of a better life. This for movement because, like many people, I have sort of joined the movement to really simplify my life in an effort to live a fuller, more satisfying life. And so this is written by an author who is from Finland, and she leaves Finland and moves to America because she falls in love with an American man. And so it says their relationship flourished, but she found that navigating the basics of everyday life, from health insurance and taxes to education and childcare, was much more complicated and stressful than anything she had encountered in her homeland. At first, she attributed her crippling anxiety to the difficulty of adapting to a freewheeling new culture, but as she got to know Americans better, she discovered that they shared her deep apprehensions. To understand why life in Finland is so drastically different from the way things are in the United States, she began to look closely at both countries. In the Nordic theory of everything, she compares living in the United States with life in the Nordic region, focusing on 4 key relationships: parents and children, men and women, employees and employers, and government and citizens. She debunks criticism that Nordic countries are socialist nanny states, revealing instead that it is we Americans who are far more enmeshed in unhealthy dependencies than we realize. Step by step, she explains that the Nordic approach allows citizens to enjoy more individual freedom and equality than we do. Partanen wants to open Americans' eyes to how much better things can be, to show her beloved new country what it can learn from her homeland, to reinvigorate and fulfill the promise of the American dream. Offering insights, advice, and solutions, the Nordic theory of everything makes a convincing argument that we can rebuild our society, rekindle our optimism, and restore independence to our relationships and lives. Once again, I think this is a pretty timely read because of the things that are going on right now in our country, and I really think that despite what happens in the upcoming election, that Americans really need to look inward and think about the kind of society that we want to live in. I think, and I know that I'm not alone in thinking that the pandemic and the American response to the pandemic has really laid bare some of the fundamental flaws in our society, and whether it's the way that we think about what schools are and the purpose of schools and how we educate our children, to how employers treat their employees, and the things that could easily be done to give people much more of a balanced life in terms of work and home. So I think this is going to be a really interesting read during November, which is the month that the election happens. So those are my 4 choices for Nonfiction November. There is a group read along is The Yellow House by Sarah M. Broom. I do want to read with the group. I'm currently on a wait list at the library for that book, so I don't know if it doesn't come in shortly for me. I may go ahead and see if I can purchase it from one of our local bookstores. But that is all that I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're participating in Nonfiction November, let me know what you're reading in the comments below, or if you have a work of nonfiction that you really love and want to suggest to me to add it to my TBR, leave that in the comments down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will, if you like this video and want to see more videos from me, be sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!